What is up, you guys? Ryan Brewer back here, the host of Michael Myers Reacts, and today I am here for Ranking Podcast 4. This is going to be the last ranking podcast I do probably for a while. I'm not saying there won't be more ranking podcasts in the future, but right now, Ranking Podcast 4 is going to be my final one for a while. And as you could tell from the title of the podcast, once again, today I am going to be ranking the Child's Play franchise. So in today's ranking, I have a total of 7 films to rank. Again, I am going to go from best to worst, not worst to best. I've done that in the first 3 ranking podcasts, so of course I'm going to do it in this one. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get right into this. I'm not sure how long this one is going to be. It may be short, it may be long. I don't really know. It depends how much I get into talking about these films because, hey, if you're a horror slasher fan like me, we could really get into this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could talk about this stuff for hours and hours. But I'm not going to do that to you guys because you guys don't have hours and hours to hear me talk about slasher films. So, you may have kind of noticed a trend with my ranking podcast 1, 2, and 3. In my ranking podcast 1, Halloween 1978 was my favorite. In my ranking podcast 2, A Nightmare on Elm Street 1984 was my favorite. And on a ranking podcast 3, Friday the 13th, 1980 was my favorite. Those were all the first films in those franchises. It's a little different with Chucky. So let's just go ahead and get right into the Child's Play ranking. Number 1 on my list has to go to Child's Play 2. Now, before everyone goes crazy, because I know, everyone's like, oh, nothing can beat the original. No way a sequel could beat the original. I'm going to tell you why I like Child's Play 2 better than Child's Play 1. But these two could be switched. I'm just because I like Child's Play 2 better than Child's Play 1 doesn't mean I don't like Child's Play 1. The reason I like Child's Play 2 more is because the movie to me is more, if you know, in Child's Play, it's kind of like, you can't really relate it to Halloween, but you know how Halloween has a strong build-up. It's a thriller, and it builds you up to the climax at the very end. Child's Play 1 does that. You know, they wait. You don't hear Chucky actually talk until Karen Barkley's like, I'm going to throw you in the fire, and all that stuff, and then he finally talks. I like the build-ups. I love the build-ups. I think it makes a movie better when you build it up and have the audience on the edge of their seats. But I like Child's Play 2 better because something about Child's Play 2, I just love the story of it, and I just love Chucky in that one. I feel like that was the first film that we got Chucky's full performance. Like, he did great in Child's Play 1. I love Child's Play 1. I'm not here going against Child's Play 1. Child's Play 1 is a great film. But Child's Play 2, to me, was the first film where Chucky was like, I'm Chucky, you need to know my name. And it's just like, he did that in the first one. I'm not saying like he wasn't soft in the first one. He definitely not. But Child's Play 2 has always been my personal favorite. You got to also remember that this is my personal preference. Like, everyone has their own opinions, and to me, the best in the franchise is Child's Play 2. But like I said, I could switch number 1 and 2 on my list here. So let's just get right into number 2 on my list, which is obvious because I said I could switch them. Number 2 on my list has to go to Child's Play, the original. Which I believe is 1988, if I'm right. I don't know. I didn't write the years down on this one, so it's kind of my fault. I'm sorry. But number 2 on my list goes to Child's Play, the original, because it's up there with Child's Play 2 to me. Those are my 2 favorite in the franchise. That's why they're number 1 and 2 on my list. Child's Play 1 is, when that came out, that was something completely different, completely new, it was very creative. There wasn't anything really seen before that time that was like Chucky. I think it was 1988. I hope I'm not saying the year wrong through this entire podcast because that would be terrible. But Child's Play 1 was like the first movie about a killer doll. Like, you can't really say, I guess you could say he is a possessed doll. What am I talking about? But it was like one of the first movies that was about a possessed killer doll, and that was just so creative and new. And obviously without that one, I wouldn't have my favorite, Child's Play 2. Child's Play 1 is very enjoyable. You got Karen Barkley, you got Andy Barkley, and so on. The kills are good in it. The first kill in the entire franchise is with Maggie, when Chucky hits her in the head with a freaking hammer and she falls out of the window. And obviously she dies. They were, I think, close to the top floor. I'm not sure. I don't even remember what floor. But hey, but she fell out the window and got killed. Well, she didn't fall. Chucky, But yeah, Child's Play 1's a classic. Of course, Child's Play 1 would be number 2 on my list. Well, some people are probably like, why is it number 2? It should be number 1. Because I said I have my own opinion. Child's Play 2 is my favorite in the franchise. It's always been that way for as long as I've watched the Child's Play franchise. So it hasn't changed. Something about Child's Play 2, like I don't exactly know. Because I watched the first one, Child's Play, and I think, oh, well, this is a terrific film. I love Child's Play. This is great. But something about Child's Play 2, it might be that ending scene when they're in the toy, where they create the good guy dolls. I just love that. It's like that atmosphere is just so cool. But yeah, number 2 on my list has to go to Child's Play, the original. Number 3 on my list has to go to Child's Play 3. Now, Child's Play 3 was the last Chucky movie with the title Child's Play in it. Child's Play 3 was basically Andy's older, and he goes off to military camp. It's called like Kent or something like that. And in this one, Chucky's going after a young kid named Tyler, and Andy's pretty much like, he's trying to tell Tyler that, hey, Chucky's not a good guy, and Tyler doesn't listen to him for a while. I love the ending scene though with the paintball thing, where Chucky trades out the paintballs for real bullets, and they're ending up shooting each other. That sounds wrong to say that I like that, but hey, the ending was really good. The feel of the movie is just, I love it. Child's Play 3, it's number 3 on my list. They're my top 3. I love the Child's Play trilogy. If you want to see it as that, if you want to see those first 3 as a trilogy, you very much can, because that's how I see it. It's obviously a trilogy. But I mean, it's not, Child's Play 3 isn't the final Chucky film, but to me it's a trilogy. And I could watch them in order. I know my list goes Child's Play 2, Child's Play 1, and Child's Play 3, but I could watch them, Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, number 3 on my list goes to Child's Play 3 because it's a great movie. So now we are getting out of the Child's Play in the title, the Child's Play trilogy, if you will. That's what I'm going to call it here on the live stream. Number 4 on my list has to go to Curse of Chucky, which came out in 2013. Because I remember when that came out, me and my buddy really wanted to see that movie. But there for a while, we thought it was coming into theaters, but it ended up going straight to Blu-ray and DVD, which is unfortunate because Child's Play. See, now I'm saying Child's Play. Curse of Chucky was a great film. There was films before that one, which I'm going to get into later, but the Child's Play franchise, or so-called Chucky franchise, was going downhill. But Curse of Chucky, when that came out in 2013, they made Chucky scary again, and they kept the film very basic. It takes place in one house. It's just very basic, and I like that. And Chucky's supposed to be scary, I know that a lot of, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, Freddy ends up becoming more comical. He's not taken as seriously. But, it's the same thing with Chucky. They ended up making Chucky more comical than serious after a while, which really sucks because, they need to keep them at their roots. I know that you can have... This is my take on, comedy in a horror movie. You can have funny moments in a horror movie. You can have jokes, but you can't overdo it. That was the problem with the later sequels of A Nightmare on Elm Street and the Child's Play Chucky franchises. They overdid the jokes, and then you looked at Chucky or you looked at Freddy, and you're just like, hey, this is just funny. This isn't even remotely scary at all. So it's just literally comedy at this point. But when Curse of Chucky came out in 2013, it made Chucky scary again. The kills were great in Curse of Chucky. It's just really good. And you meet all new characters in Curse of Chucky. The movies previous before those two, which, like I said, I will get into those here soon, there wasn't really too many new characters, if you will. This one was like a whole new take. There was no Andy involved. There was no... They did do like a backstory about, Charles Lee Ray, and it talked about Andy and him going to military school and all that stuff. Which I like the fact that they paid homage to, Andy Barkley. He was a big part of the Chucky Child's Play franchise, obviously. He's in Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. and he's in Cult of Chucky, which I'll get into that later. But Curse of Chucky is definitely my fourth favorite in the franchise. I still consider the Child's Play trilogy, if you will, better than whatever came after those. You know what I'm saying? The Child's Play franchise trilogy will always be my favorite in the entire thing. But after that would have to be Curse of Chucky. That's why it's number 4 on my list. Number 5 on my list has to go to Bride of Chucky. Now, that Bride of Chucky is when more of the jokes came in and Chucky wasn't taken as serious. But the thing is about Bride of Chucky, I think, a lot of people say, oh, well, I could do Chucky without the scars. He doesn't necessarily need the scars. He's scary without them, which I agree. Chucky is scary without the scars, but the scars really made him look cool. Like, I looked at him when I was... Let's look at a younger person's point of view. If you was younger and you saw a regular face doll, it wouldn't be as scary. He comes off more friendly. But if you looked at a doll that already had scars and stitches, I can't talk, you would be pretty scared. But don't get me wrong, Chucky without the scars, he is still terrifying either way. But Bride of Chucky's when more of the jokes came in, and then Chucky wasn't taken as seriously. You also meet Tiffany, which is his wife, his bride in it. It's a good movie though. It's definitely a fun film. Like it's not all jokes. Like there's nothing really scary about it in my opinion. But there's a lot of cool things about Bride of Chucky. I thought Bride of Chucky was a good film, even though it wasn't exactly scary. So that's why Bride of Chucky is number 5 on my list. Oh, now we're getting into the so-called garbage of the Child's Play Chucky franchise. Two more movies to talk about. Both movies I'm not a huge fan of. So let's just get into it. Number 6 on my list has to go to Cult of Chucky, which Cult of Chucky is pretty much a sequel to Curse of Chucky, and it's the idea of Cult of Chucky is there's more than one Chucky, and here's my thoughts on that real quick. I have a friend, which he knows who he is, that he was like, oh, I always wanted to see, more than one Chucky on the screen, multiple Chuckies. But he said he didn't want to see it didn't want it to play out the way it did in Cult of Chucky. I wouldn't want to see that at all. My opinion, there should not be multiple Chuckies. There should be one Chucky, and that's it. And that's what I love. I know that people, they want to change it up because they don't want people to get sick and tired of seeing the same stuff over and over and over. But keep one Chucky. They could still be creative and think of other things other than making multiple Chuckies. Maybe it's just me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys like that they had more than one Chucky in Cult of Chucky, or would you rather them just stick with one Chucky and that's it? Now, they could have... For Cult of Chucky is a terrible sequel for Curse of Chucky, because Curse of Chucky was so good, so good. I cannot talk. I am sorry. Curse of Chucky was so good, and Cult of Chucky was just terrible to me. It was hyped up for me a little bit because, everyone was like, oh, Andy Barkley's coming back and all that, and it's a sequel to Curse of Chucky. And I was like, this is going to be great. I'm excited. I loved Curse of Chucky. I can't wait to see the sequel to Curse of Chucky. And I was like, oh, and Andy's coming back? That's even better. And then I watched the film. I knew there was going to be multiple Chuckies. And at first I was like, okay, I don't like that. Ever since I heard that there was going to be multiple Chuckies in it, I was like, this is not going to be the way I thought it was. I seen the movie, and I was right. It wasn't the way I thought it was. And I was like, yeah, I don't like that. I'm not saying it's terrible. Obviously, it's not the last one on my list. But Cult of Chucky, I could watch it. It had decent kills in it. But the overall movie and storyline, the story's okay, because, they go to that like the mental asylum, which makes sense because they blamed Nika for the murders from Curse of Chucky, which I like that. I like that they did that. But I kind of think they should have went with kind of like a Halloween 2 thing. Like maybe Chucky wanted to kill Nika because he didn't kill her. Maybe they kind of did like a Halloween 2 thing. Like Chucky was just picking people off in this mental asylum. And now with Andy, they could have brought him back, and maybe he could have went to that asylum and tried to stop Chucky from killing Nika. But they just went. I don't know. It seems like they wrote that and they were like, "Hey, there's some good ideas, but let's do something kind of stupid. I mean, the series is funny in a way anyway, so let's just make it dumb. Like, who cares? Let's just get a movie out." I don't know. I wouldn't have made Cult of Chucky that way. That's my personal opinion. I don't know. Some people out there may love that there was multiple Chuckies. Like I said, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of multiple Chuckies. Like I said, I'm not a fan of it. So let's get to the last on my ranking podcast. I would say last but not least, but this is least because this movie is the worst in the franchise. It's trash overall. It's just trash. So the last one, number 7 on my list, goes to Seed of Chucky. If you've seen the Chucky franchise or Child's Play franchise, whatever you like to call it, if you've seen Seed of Chucky, you know the movie is no good. Chucky and Tiffany end up having a kid. And Chucky and Tiffany cannot figure out the gender of the kid. And he goes by the name of Glenn, then the name of Glinda, and it's just really stupid. And Glenn/Glinda doesn't want Chucky and Tiffany to kill. He wants to have a normal life with his family. He doesn't want them to kill anymore. Which, oh man, the story's just so bad. At this point, the movie, as soon as Seed of Chucky came out, it's like Chucky could not be taken seriously ever after that movie. But Curse of Chucky to me redeemed it, so that's why I like Curse of Chucky. But Seed of Chucky totally killed the franchise to me. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if they made Seed of Chucky and then we never saw Chucky again because of how bad the movie was. But I mean, if you think about it, Seed of Chucky came out, I believe 2004. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Seed of Chucky came out in 2004, and it took all the way till 2013 for them to bring Chucky back. So in a way, Seed of Chucky did kind of kill it off for a while, which I see why, because the movie is terrible. That is another film you could skip. You could watch the whole Child's Play franchise or Chucky franchise, and you could skip Seed of Chucky. I said that you could, like you could skip Freddy's Dead from Nightmare on Elm Street, and you could skip Resurrection from Halloween. Well, on this one, you can skip Seed of Chucky. Seed of Chucky is just no freaking good. Don't watch Seed of Chucky. If you don't have to, don't watch it. Just skip it. Just stop at Bride of Chucky. So yeah, number 7 on my list goes to Seed of Chucky. It's just not a good movie. Let me know what you guys thought of this ranking podcast series I did. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys would like to see me maybe do another franchise in the future. Just give me a franchise and leave it in the comment section what franchise you might want to see me do. But yeah, that's it for now for my ranking podcast. I won't be doing this probably for a while. So please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.